I'm on the web. I'm on the web. Yeah, wah, wah, wah.
What's up, web fam? This is Webcam, back at it
Yo,
again with
this is
another Spider-Man related thing, and it definitely won't be the last.
what's up, guys. Peter Parker here.
Yeah,
So
we got Peter Parker. We got a different layout for this episode because we're doing a tier list of the Spider-Man movies.
all the Spider-Man movies,
yeah.
actually all of them, like dead ass, even
Yeah.
the fucking newest one.
Yeah, literally all of them. We got the Tobey Maguire trilogy, Andrew Garfield duology. We got Homecoming, Far From Home, Into the Spider-Verse, Venom, Venom 2. We got them all. We don't have Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame because those are not like about Spider-Man. He just appears in them. But
He just appears in the damn movies. All right.
yeah, and then we have Venom because it seems like he's going to be in No Way Home, so it just kind of makes sense to include him. And he's a Spider-Man. He's a Spider-Man character, so.
And also, all of these movies have, I'm pretty sure it's like 4 multiverses, right? Or 5 if we're counting the animated one, right?
Yeah.
So we have like different multiverses.
Yeah, it seems like No Way Home has this multiverse thing going on where they have like returning villains and stuff. So like, it seems like all these movies are going to be connected in some way. Maybe not Into the Spider-Verse, but all the live action ones
like
seem to be connected.
So basically, of course, so we have like the first multiverse, which is just like the Tobey Maguire movies or Sam Raimi or whatever you want to call them, and then we have the Andrew Garfield movies, of course, with the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, and then we have the third phase, which is, or like not the third phase, third multiverse, which is the Tom Holland movies, 3 of them in this one, and then the fourth one would be the Venom movies. You know, and then Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. So I think the structure of this podcast is we're going to start, and a majority of the video will probably be us making this tier list. We're going to put like, you know, how tier lists work. Like there's no like 1 to 10 rating scale. It's just like, I think these ones are the best, these ones are the worst, these ones are in the middle, etc. Then after we do the tier list, we're probably going to give like our countdowns, like my like 10 to 1 least favorite to favorite, and then JJ will do the same thing. We'll probably have different opinions throughout the whole podcast, but I'm very excited for No Way Home. Obviously, we're recording this before that movie comes out, but it'll be this podcast will be coming out the day after. Well,
we watched the movie.
Technically, it comes out on Friday because that's when they say movies come out. But we're seeing it on Thursday night, so
pretty much
at the time this comes out, we'll have already seen No Way Home.
We're gonna be on the Thursday red carpet, so check us out.
Yeah, we're gonna be on the red carpet. You make sure to check us out.
Yeah,
but with that being said,
gonna take a photo with Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, I'm gonna be hanging out with Alfred Molina, and he's gonna fuck me with the
take out Zendaya on a day, of course. But you know. Anyways, let's get on to this fucking tier list right here.
Yeah, so first off, we have Sam Raimi's Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 1.
Spider-Man movie. Okay.
Now, with this Tobey Maguire movies, there's a lot of nostalgia with these movies because these are like the movies that I grew up watching, Spider-Man movies I grew up with. I wouldn't say I have a lot of nostalgia for like the first one because that came out in 2002 and I was like a year old. I definitely have the most nostalgia for Spider-Man 3, and we'll get to that. But the first movie is still really good. Like Green Goblin is one of the best villains. I love Willem Dafoe's portrayal of the character. I'm really excited to see him again. It's gonna be wild.
Honestly, Green Goblin is a great villain. Honestly, like he is one of the best Spider-Man villains, hands down. But for me, especially what you said, like I didn't grow up. Well, of course I wasn't born when this movie came out, right? I did grow up watching it, but honestly, I feel like this movie didn't really age well. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's fair. So for more of a background, I recently like marathoned all of these movies. So all the movies that are in this tier list, I've watched all of them very recently, so they're fresh on my mind. I just watched Venom 2 and Far From Home today to prep myself for No Way Home. So I just watched all of these, and I can say, yeah, definitely Spider-Man, the first one. A lot of the CGI has not aged very well for a movie from 2002, obviously. but the action's still good.
I would say that's all good.
Characters are
Personally,
great.
it's not anywhere in like any low tiers, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's like the beginning of something great, pretty much.
Yeah.
But it's only the beginning, pretty
See,
much. It's like
here's the thing with this movie is like the Amazing Spider-Man tried to like do the origin story, but in a different way. Like they took the same general ideas, but like tried to change it in a way to where it was different enough to warrant being its own movie. And then with the Tom Holland movies, they didn't even attempt to make a new origin story because we've already seen it. Like you can't top this movie. Like this is the Spider-Man origin story movie. Like you can't, or at least for Peter Parker, I guess. So like you can't do better than this. Like they haven't even attempted to do better than this with the MCU Spider-Man, and I don't think they will. I don't think we're gonna get like a true origin story. We might see some flashbacks of like Uncle Ben or something, but I don't think we're gonna get the whole like origin.
so. My final opinion on this. All right, I would probably put this in A tier.
Yeah,
Honestly.
I definitely agree. Hey, look, dog
A
in the
tier.
background. We got the
There it
dog.
goes.
We got
A
the
tier.
dog.
Now,
Yeah, definitely
Spider-Man
A tier.
2, Spider-Man 2, hands down, to me, currently is the best Spider-Man movie. All right?
That's fair.
I literally watched this movie like a few days ago, and every time I watch this movie, it gets better every time I watch it, I swear to God.
Yeah.
And a lot of it I feel has to do with like the action scenes. The action scenes are wild in this movie.
Yeah, the
Especially
train
that whole
the train sequence.
the train sequence. Oh my God, that's like probably like
That's
one of
never going to be topped. Like we have this whole
Yeah.
like bridge fight scene in No Way Home from the trailers. I don't. It's not
Yeah.
going to be anywhere close to the
it's
train.
it's not even close to that. And just the entire like just the whole story revolving Doc Ock has always been interesting to me, especially when I was playing it in like Spider-Man PS4. Doc Ock is a like crazy ass villain where he just like he makes a machine and that machine starts controlling his mind, his body, and pretty much like you know,
Yeah.
it's kind of it's nuts. It's a great movie to watch.
Yeah, Alfred Molina is Doc Ock. He's great in the role. I think personally, I think that he's the best villain that we've seen in a Spider-Man movie because he's like he has the same like ideology, I guess, as Peter Parker. Like he wants to use his knowledge for the good of mankind, but he just
Pretty
gets
much, yeah.
he gets controlled by the arms. So like he's not really a bad guy. He's just being controlled by the arms. It's kind of the same thing with the Green Goblin, how he's like because of the serum or whatever, it makes him crazy, but he also isn't really a good guy anyway, so I
But
don't know,
yeah,
Spider-Man
this movie-
2 just it has a lot of the best scenes. It has a lot of memes, obviously the pizza time meme,
It's a time.
but most of the meme stuff can be attributed to any of the three Tobey Maguire movies.
Especially the third one.
Yeah, especially the third one.
But anyways, hands down, this deserves an S for Spider-Man.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
That's S tier right there.
But when we get to Spider-Man 3 right now,
Okay.
let me say something. So personally, Spider-Man 3 is my favorite of the three. Now, Spider-Man 2 is a way better movie and is definitely deserves the praise, but Spider-Man 3 is the most like rewatchable of the trilogy.
Okay. I'm gonna be real honest with you. I really like Spider-Man 3 as well.
Yeah.
I feel like that movie is hated a lot, especially because of like the use of just like three villains in the movie. Like it's kind of like I don't know. It's kind of weird, and people do not like fucking Bully Maguire as well. Like, you know, but I honestly feel like those scenes with him, even though they can be wacky or cringy at times, it's entertaining as fuck. You know,
Yeah.
like it's entertaining seeing like this version of Toby become like more of a villain. You know, and then you also have like these other villains that are in the background as well, trying to like fight with him, you know.
Yeah. The way they handle the symbiote is not what you want it to be or like what you expected, but Sam Raimi didn't want Venom to be in the movie anyway, so he kind of just like didn't
threw
care.
it in there.
So
Yeah,
I think it works. Like I like how they did it because it makes it more entertaining. It's not necessarily like super comic accurate or like realistic, I guess. but it's definitely entertaining.
Do I prefer it over Spider-Man 3? Or no, do I prefer it over the first Spider-Man? Probably, honestly.
Yeah, I think I
But,
can agree with that. I feel
but
like
I
Spider-Man
would
3 has a lot better action, obviously, because the CGI is much better. Um,
but it's the most like rewatchable Spider-Man movie, to be
yeah,
honest with you.
like
If we're comparing it to other ones, then I feel
it
like
has all the
this.
memes. We got Bully Maguire, we got weird Venom.
And then you get like the fucking fights he has with fucking Harry throughout the entire movie, which is
Yeah.
great too.
There's also
So
just some really good scenes in this movie, like the whole like Sandman transformation. Like that's the CGI in
that
that scene
scene
like still looks really good for
that
like a
scene is
movie
crazy,
made in
yeah.
2007.
But and also it's great to see these villains coming back to the newest one. So
Yeah.
I kind of see a few like relations between this new Spider-Man movie and this one, only because we have like like three villains. We have three villains in Spider-Man 3, and then we have a bunch of villains in the newest Spider-Man. Spider-Man trying to handle all these villains and shit.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you see some connection there. But honestly, if I were to say, I'd probably put this in A tier. I'll put it right in front of the first Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Now, obviously, this is our opinion, so I know some people could agree, but I feel like most people won't agree with this. But
It's all right.
that's the fun.
No problem with that.
We'll probably like rearrange all of this once we put
Mhm.
everything on there, obviously. So, then we get to the Andrew Garfield movies. This is where things start to get a little rocky.
Yeah.
Um,
Now,
Amazing
do I
Spider-Man,
hate?
Amazing Spider-Man 1, I do not like.
Okay.
I do not like it. And very controversial opinion, I like the second movie more.
Now that's a very controversial opinion
Yeah.
because I don't agree with that.
Now here's my reasoning behind it.
Okay.
So Amazing Spider-Man 1 it's basically a remake of the first Tobey Maguire movie for the most part, except the villain is way worse. Lizard is not he's a pretty weak villain if you think about it. Like I like his design and everything, but he has very weak motivation and doesn't get a lot of screen time.
Yeah.
I like Andrew Garfield. I really like him as an actor. I just wish that these movies were written better. That's more specifically the second one than the first one, but I don't like the suit in this movie. Like this is probably my least favorite suit from a Spider-Man movie because it's very like basketball-esque.
What I have to say about the first Amazing Spider-Man movie is that we have more of like a dark tone to like Spider-Man, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Especially with the scene when it comes to like Uncle Ben, his death scene, things shit like that. His like whole household, his pretty much him growing up. It's you like all the comedy that was in the Tobey Maguire movies and shit like that. Like it's just not in this movie. Like it's more like we're getting like a Dark Knight version of Spider-Man, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. You can tell that they were trying to get with the times because this movie came out like it was being filmed and like production wise it was like before the Avengers came out because this was the same year that Avengers came out, and the biggest comic book movie at the time was The Dark Knight, so they were clearly taking inspiration from The Dark Knight and trying to make a darker, edgier Spider-Man. And then with the Amazing Spider-Man 2 they completely changed that style. Like they were trying to copy the Avengers after that because they made his costume super bright and colorful. They made
he's more like jokester.
Yeah, he's more of a jokester.
But
so what do you think about Amazing Spider-Man 1? Where do you think it places?
I think it's not a bad movie. I don't hate this movie.
I consider it C tier currently. Again, we're gonna rearrange this, I'm sure. So
I would put it in B tier. Put in B tier. But if there was something like that's better than this that should be on B tier, then I would put whatever movie that is over this movie, depending on what it is. But you know what? C tier it is.
Yeah. Amazing Spider-Man 2. Here's more reasoning behind this decision that I've made. So again,
Yeah.
I just rewatched all these movies recently. Amazing Spider-Man 2 is I think pretty sure it's a lot longer than the first one. Um, Electro is so laughably bad that it's good. Like his whole character, like he's just like an idiot, and he's angry because Spider-Man doesn't remember his birthday or whatever. It's just like so funny. I like the visuals. Amazing Spider-Man 2 might be the best looking Spider-Man movie, at least in live action, because the CGI and the
Not
suit.
not the best looking villain, but
No.
best looking CGI, I guess. It's CGI, yes, definitely. Especially how Spider-Man looks. I think this is honestly one of the best Spider-Man suits to date. To be honest with you,
I think currently it's the best live action Spider-Man suit. Like I really like Tobey Maguire's suit, and I really like the Tom Holland suits, specifically the one from Far From Home, like the red and black. But I think that like the Amazing Spider-Man 2 costume is the closest that we've gotten to like comic to screen. This is what Spider-Man looks like.
it's great. Yeah.
So
The movie is a little bit weird for me, I guess.
it has a similar
It's
Spider-Man 3 syndrome where there's way too many things going on, too many villains, too many plot lines going on.
it's not fantastic. It just feels a little bit rushed.
Yeah. And it also, the movie kind of just exists to set up other movies because they were trying to set up this whole Sinister Six thing in this movie.
Yeah, with
And
Rhino at the end. And
yeah,
shit.
with Rhino, and they had like Doc Ock's arms, and they had like the symbiote, I'm pretty sure. It's just a messy movie, but like it's fun. Like it's a fun movie.
Yeah,
Amazing Spider-Man 1 is a lot more boring in comparison to this
Amazing
movie.
Spider-Man 1 wasn't. It tried to like be like a build up for more movies to come, but it wasn't explaining that much at the same time. It was more just trying to like show the story of Peter Parker. But Spider-Man 2 tries to pick up on that and actually get like all these villains coming up for future movies, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's your choice, man. Where you want to put it, I'll leave it up to you.
I think the Amazing Spider-Man movies are both like very close to each other quality wise, which I know a lot of people wouldn't agree on that. And I did say that I like the second one more, so I'm still gonna put it in C tier, just above Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Okay. It's all right.
Subject to change, I'm sure.
I'm not gonna cry, but it's cool.
Gonna cry?
No, absolutely not.
And then we have Spider-Man Homecoming, which I also have some controversial opinions about this movie as well. Yes, I do. This movie is good, like pretty good, but I always forget what like what happens in this movie. Like
okay, you
like
want me to
the
explain?
the shit with Vulture is really good. Like the scene of him in the car,
Yes.
like driving him to prom, that's like
Fuck
probably
yes,
one of the
it
best
is.
scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
But like a lot of the rest of the movie is kind of forgettable for me. Like I don't remember what happened in this movie before I rewatched it. Like I remember the Vulture was in it, and that Spider-Man saved people in the spiky thing, whatever that's called, the Washington Monument, something. I don't know anything about history, so
That's the Washington Monument. Yeah.
yeah. And I remember the fucking boat scene or whatever where he like has to hold the boat together.
Yeah.
One thing that I always hear people talk about MCU Spider-Man, or more specifically Homecoming, is its reliance on Tony Stark and like Iron Man stuff. But like this was the first Spider-Man movie set in the MCU with other superheroes in it, so it makes sense for them to reference and bring up stuff. And also Spider-Man was brought into the MCU by Iron Man.
Tony
so
Stark. Yeah.
it makes a lot of sense. It seems like in the MCU, instead of having Uncle Ben, it seems like Tony Stark is more of the father figure. Obviously, Uncle Ben still existed. We just didn't see that. So this is a very different version of the character compared to the last two. Because this one exists in a universe with other superheroes.
You know something? I think this movie is great, but like you said, this movie is forgettable.
Yeah. And that's not a bad thing. Like I really like this movie.
This movie is
Here's kind of like my basic thoughts about the MCU Spider-Man movies, or like MCU Spider-Man in general, like even the movies that he's appeared in. I feel every time every time he's in a movie, or every time that he has his own movie, I always feel like I still haven't seen enough. You know? Does that make sense? Like I feel like I haven't seen him as Spider-Man enough to like really get him as Spider-Man.
I feel like, you know, with this MCU Spider-Man, like they know you've seen like the other films, like they know the whole point why you're watching Spider-Man, and I feel like they just don't want to overdo the entire like build up to him. You know what I mean? That's why they just like throw you into this movie, and it's like you don't really feel this character that much until I feel like that's more until you watch Far From Home. Is when you actually like understand more of this character.
No, Homecoming is about like Spider-Man proving to Iron Man that he can like do stuff by himself.
Mm-hmm.
And then Far From Home is about him becoming Spider-Man, like not having to worry about anyone else.
To be honest with you, like at first I was a little bit like weirded out because Spider-Man was more like he was like a child in this movie pretty much, right?
Yeah, but that's more accurate.
It's more accurate, yeah, just like you said.
Yeah.
And people
I kind of agree with that as well. Like when I saw Captain America Civil War, I thought that Spider-Man was like he was too kiddie and like he made too many like childish jokes. But then the Spider-Man that we've seen have been played by like older people, and like they haven't really been taking that like childish approach. Because like Andrew Garfield does not seem like he'd be in high school in those movies. Like when I saw those movies, I never thought like, oh, he's in high school.
He had more of a mature vibe, and this one has more like a just like realistically like a realistic high school student, you know?
Yeah.
So
to be honest, when I was like super young and watching the Tobey Maguire movies, I probably never even realized that he was supposed to be like a high school student or like a college student.
Honestly, didn't even know at the time.
Like because he just looked like an adult. So,
pretty much, yeah.
But like Tom Holland, I can buy as a high schooler.
Yeah.
Like the way that his character acts, it's definitely more like in line with a high schooler.
This is why I like Tom Holland pretty much.
Yeah.
Or like the Tom Holland movies is because it's more. This is what Spider-Man is supposed to be. Like he's supposed to be a fucking kid, you know? Like it's
like I like the direction that they're going in with his character, and I feel like after seeing No Way Home, I feel like he will be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like he will be definitively Spider-Man. Obviously, there's still nostalgia biased people who will always say that Toby or Andrew are better. And hopefully we see a lot of them in No Way Home, and hopefully they get some more development as well. And I'd love to see them in the future as well. Like if they make another Amazing Spider-Man movie that's in like the Venom universe, or another Tobey Maguire movie in the Venom universe, or even at the end of No Way Home, if they're all like combined into one universe. I don't really know yet, but I'd love to see them again. I think Andrew Garfield could really kill it as Spider-Man if they gave him like good movies. Because he's like a really good actor.
He is. He's a great Spider-Man. I feel like he just didn't really have much of a.
He didn't have a lot to work with, unfortunately.
Yeah, pretty much, and he would have been great, honestly.
Yeah. So yeah, Homecoming. I think I'd put that solid B tier.
B tier. Yeah, I would agree. It's
like,
not that bad.
Yeah, it's definitely better than the Amazing movies, but it's not. It doesn't touch the Tobey Maguire movies for me.
Yeah.
Now we got Venom next.
Oh, Venom. Okay.
Yeah, we're doing this in release order.
I forget Venom. I forgot.
Yeah, Venom, and then Into the Spider-Verse, and then Far From Home, and then Venom 2.
Okay, so Venom. So when I think about this movie, right? This movie is another one that's fucking forgettable. At least for me, that's how I feel. I
kind of agree.
I watched this movie about 3 times, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think I've watched it about 3 or 4 times as well.
Because honestly, it's such an alright movie, but it's not like that great either. A lot of people would say that this is like the thing is that I wasn't feeling this new type of Venom, you know, like where it's like Venom's like this like nerdy ass, you know, alien character, you know, that's been sent to like Earth and shit.
I wasn't totally digging the direction that they decided to take the character in this movie, but it's way worse in the second one.
Yeah,
Like this movie is like it's okay. Like they didn't go too far.
Comedic.
They didn't go too far with this idea. Like he's not really like a villain. Obviously, he's like a anti-hero in these movies.
It was comedic, but it was still more dark than the second one, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the approach it should take when it comes to these Venom movies, because like that's what Venom is supposed to be. Even though in the comics he's like, yeah, he can pop like a few jokes and shit like that, but he's like,
yeah,
he's more of he's a fucking villain.
Yeah.
So.
In comparison to Let There Be Carnage, this movie is a lot more tame in comparison. Like everything that this movie does, the second movie does like more of, and I don't want that because it's not a good direction to take the character.
Especially for the second movie when you're bringing in a character like Carnage.
Yeah.
I do not expect it to be that fucking worse.
Yeah. I do like Venom, the first Venom movie. I do like it a considerable amount. I wouldn't say it's like amazing though. Like it's pretty like average. Like I didn't really like it that much when I first saw it, but comparing it to the sequel is like night and day. So
yeah.
For me,
where would you put that?
I'd probably put that like high C tier or low B tier.
I'd put that high C tier, honestly. I mean, I think that's a great
I'd probably choose to watch Venom over either of the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
All right. Far From Home.
Nope. Into the Spider-Verse is next.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. Into the Spider-Verse. Now, here's my controversial opinion about Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Is Into the Spider-Verse a great Spider-Man movie? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about standalone, you know, and the animation is what makes it a great movie, I feel like. I think the animation just takes the ball and just like, yeah, this is a great movie. But if we're actually talking about the Spider-Man story, it's good, but it's not great, you know?
Yeah, I don't like... Here's the thing. I really like this movie, but I think it's way too overhyped.
Yeah.
Like I really liked it when I saw it, and like the couple times that I've rewatched it, I've really liked it. But like, it's not really like the best Spider-Man movie, I don't think.
No, there's a lot of people that put it up there, you know, and I feel like that.
I would still place it very high, but it's
yeah.
I don't think it's the best Spider-Man movie.
I just don't think I don't think it's at par with Spider-Man 2, but it's still a great Spider-Man film, especially like introducing Miles Morales.
Yeah, I love all the characters in this movie. We got Miles, we got Peter, we got another Peter who dies.
Introducing new characters, and it's like it kind of like makes this movie, you know, almost like the new movie coming out, the new Spider-Man, where it's like a bunch of multiverses or some shit, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's also like, this is a movie that I feel like would have been like crazier or would have worked better as a sequel. So like say they did Into the Spider-Verse 1, or like it wasn't called Into the Spider-Verse. It's a movie about Miles Morales and like his origin story or whatever.
Yeah.
And then
that would have been the first movie is what you're saying.
Yeah, and then and then Into the Spider-Verse would be the sequel. But like also Into the Spider-Verse feels like a culmination event, kind of like how No Way Home is, where it's like bringing all these things together, except in Into the Spider-Verse we don't know, like there's no previously established characters. Like it's all just in this one movie, so it doesn't feel like this big thing. It's just like, oh, there's Peter Parker, I know him. And then we got like Spider-Ham. Spider-Ham, like some of the characters don't really do anything in the movie.
No.
Like it's basically just about Miles, Peter B. Parker, and Spider-Gwen, and then the other Spider-Men are just there just for comedic purposes.
Yeah.
But like,
I really
love the character of Miles and Peter B. Parker as well. It's really good.
But honestly, this is a good. If I were to say this, I feel like this is A tier, but low A. You know.
I was thinking high A.
You're thinking high A? I think low A, but like, you know.
I'm gonna put a high A.
You're gonna put it high A? Okay,
Yeah,
I'm just
I
gonna
feel
go
like
with
if we put Into the Spider-Verse under Spider-Man 3 in our tier list, we will get absolutely destroyed on the internet.
No, that yes. I completely forgot we put Spider-Man that high, Spider-Man 3 that high. So yeah, A tier. I do prefer Into the Spider-Verse over Spider-Man 3. Chill the fuck out. Chill
All right, now we got Far From Home. I think Far From Home is a lot more memorable and a lot better than Homecoming.
Yes, definitely.
But that's not to say that it's without issues.
I'm gonna be real honest with you. When I first saw this movie, I did think it was better than Spider-Man 2.
You did or you didn't?
I did, honestly. I thought this movie was fantastic.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
Watching it more, I start to think like it's great. It's just not. It's still not the best because you try to like I don't know. You try to really compare it to the other one. Like
Yeah, Far From Home has a very like long build up to when the movie actually starts. Like there's a lot of just like nothing going on at the beginning of the movie, and then they just like go on their trip. There's just a lot of like filler shit.
yeah,
And then when like the stuff with Mysterio starts, that's when like the movie actually starts. And I love Mysterio as a villain. Like I think
Mysterio is a great villain. Yeah,
I think that Tom Holland's had some really good villains so far. Like
I think
Vulture
the way
and Mysterio are really good.
where they tie in they also tie in Tony Stark about like Mysterio being like a pretty much an ex-worker or ex-employee
Yeah.
of Tony Stark's and having like this entire like people
I think it works for this movie, but a lot of people don't like that aspect.
I honestly do because it's more realistic.
Yeah.
Like them creating these like holograms and shit like that. I think that's a great touch for the movie.
Yeah.
I do like this movie.
Yeah, I really like the Mysterio, the scenes with Mysterio doing the illusions, like the illusion shit. That whole like scene with Spider-Man and the illusions, that shit's crazy. The final act of the movie is really good, like when he gets the new suit and then he like fights all the drones and shit.
Zombie Tony Stark. Fuck.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Far From Home has like a lot better like action than Homecoming, and
Yeah.
I don't think Mysterio is a better villain because he doesn't have as much of a personal connection to Peter, whereas like Vulture was like what's her name? I can't even think of her name. The girl that Peter likes in Homecoming. He's like her dad. Liz, that's right.
Liz.
He's Liz's dad, so they have like more of a personal connection that way. But like Mysterio doesn't really know Peter that well. He just like wants the glasses.
They were they kind of had a connection where it was more like a Tom
like
Holland
like a mentor.
Well, Peter
thing.
Parker. Peter just saw him as like as like a mentor and also as like a partner, pretty much. So it's like I kind of see where they had that connection, especially like in the last scene where they were fighting each other. I feel like Peter was more like emotional.
Yeah.
And saw him was upset because he saw him as a friend.
Yeah.
I kind of see a connection there. So.
Also, the end credits scene of this movie where his identity gets revealed, like that's probably like the biggest end credit scene that we've ever had.
The most wild scene I've ever seen.
Yeah, and now we're getting an entire movie following up on that.
So that movie's gonna be insane.
Yeah.
Where would you put this on the list?
I was thinking probably in A tier, in between Spider-Man 3 and Spider-Man 1.
Spider-Man 3 and Spider-Man. I would say it's before Spider-Man 3, but
okay, that's fair. You can do that.
I would put it there, honestly.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a good spot for it.
It's always possible that it can change.
All right.
Oh god.
I mean, you might as well. Like, fuck.
All right, Venom 2. Where do I even fucking start with this movie?
I think Anthony Fantano. Great way of saying it. Not good.
Yeah, not good. Now I've only seen this movie twice because this is the newest movie on this list. I saw it in theaters, did not like it, and I just rewatched it a few hours ago, and I liked it even less the second time. Now, the things that I don't like about the first Venom movie is how goofy they made the character. Now, in the comics, Venom is goofy, but like it's just so much different when you do it in a movie where it's like you have to like listen to his like fucking super like evil voice like say like goofy shit. And just like Eddie Brock is such a idiot in these movies. Like he's like a loser. And I guess that's the whole point is that they're both losers.
Well, it's the whole point, you know, like they're both losers and that's why they become good friends, you know?
Yeah.
It's like it's all about this movie is literally like the main purpose is all about friendship.
Yeah. Now there are two pluses that I can give to Venom 2 over Venom 1. One, the action is a lot better because in Venom 1, a lot of the action scenes with like full like Venom suit Venom there's a lot of like fog and like you don't really get to see that a lot. And then the final battle in Venom 1 is just a bunch of like fucking globs just all over the place.
Now Carnage is not a great villain, of course. You know, he's not even. I don't even think he's a good villain, to be honest with you. But the scenes with him, like when he's like becoming Carnage, doing all that shit, you know, using his superpowers and shit. I think that's all. It all looks great to me.
Yeah, like the back to the action. Like there's a lot of good action scenes in this movie. Like Carnage escaping the prison. The whole like final battle is really good. Venom just like doing just like fucking parkour shit, just like jumping on walls. Like that's the best part of this movie for me. All of the shit with like Eddie and Venom like having issues with each other or like bromance and fucking the stuff with Cletus Cassidy and his girlfriend is like super like cringe to me.
Yeah.
So like and that's like the main focus of the movie is like the Carnage relationship and the Eddie and Venom relationship, and like it's just cringe to me. Like the action is the best part, and there's not really a lot of it because this movie's so short.
I honestly did not think this movie was going to be that bad. I thought it was going to be better than the first one.
No, I think everyone expected it to be better than the first one.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, my second thing that I can give this over Venom 1 is I do like Cletus Cassidy or Carnage. I like them better as the main antagonist than the dude from the first movie. Because he was just like some random like scientist guy, and then he became Riot. And a gray symbiote versus a black symbiote, you can't even tell what's going on in the final battle.
You can't even tell what's different. It's like fucking wait, which one's Venom?
Yeah.
What?
At least in this movie, like Carnage has much more. Well, Cletus Cassidy has much more of a personality. But again, it's like very cringe because he's like the way that he is in this movie is like how people on the internet describe the Joker, how it's like we live in a society and he's just like this big like joke, like this big meme. That's basically how he's like portrayed in this movie. I really don't have much else to say. This movie is an F tier. I'm sorry.
I would have to agree with that.
And like I don't know like how people can like this movie. I'm generally stunned how people enjoy this.
I thought honestly when I finished watching it, I thought I was the only one that didn't like it. To be honest,
yeah, because I saw a lot of people online really liked it. They're saying like it's a fun movie. It's really not.
That's the problem. It's a fun movie. It's like you don't really get a reaction like that after watching a movie like Joker.
It's not even Venom 2 is not even a fun movie to watch. Like I did not have fun watching it because it's just so cringe. Like I watched it with my dad. This was the first time that he ever watched it.
What did he say?
He said that it wasn't really that good. We both agreed that the end credit scene is the best part because it means that Venom's gonna appear in a Spider-Man movie because that's what these movies are missing.
But man, honestly, there's only a few good things about this movie, and that's the problem with it. And the biggest thing was just that end credit scene, and that's it.
Yeah, the end credit scene, best part of the movie. There's so many things that I want to keep talking about, but this movie just I don't want to keep talking about this movie anymore.
Right. I guess we just move on and talk about this new one. Well, this is at least where we think.
I feel like we should rearrange this a little bit because we have an entire tier that's completely empty. Try to rearrange this.
Do we?
I feel like we should rearrange this. Kind of make it more even across. I think Into the Spider-Verse is also an S tier, but below Spider-Man 2.
Okay, we'll put that there.
A tier. I'm completely okay with that being A tier.
What about B tier? I think it's just in Spider-Man.
Yeah, Homecoming's fine. C tier.
Venom, Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Just for the sake of making things more even, I'm gonna move Amazing Spider-Man 1 to D tier. But there's really no reason to move it into D tier.
I actually don't have a D tier. Let me just make one right now.
Oh shit. But yeah, that's pretty much how I'm feeling about that.
Okay. Now, where would you think this new Spider-Man movie is going to be? Now, okay, I'm not going to go by reviews, right? But what I've been hearing is that this is the greatest superhero movie I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And I feel like, honest to God, I feel like they're just saying that because they got the fucking people who got to watch this movie, like, you know, got an invitation by Marvel. And if they say anything bad about it, of course, they're not going to be allowed to anymore.
Well, I've only read a couple like spoiler-free reviews.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that this movie has been like rumored and leaked to like have Toby and Andrew in it, and if they were not in this movie, everybody would hate this movie. So I'm guessing that they're probably in the movie, and that's why people like it.
Yeah.
But regardless of if those two are in it, like we have all the multiversal villains from the past movies, and then we have the whole storyline of Spider-Man's identity being revealed. Like there's so much in this movie. There's so much,
and there's so much hype at the same time.
Yeah.
There's so much hype reasons to watch this movie. I haven't been this excited for a movie in a while since Endgame.
Yeah, I feel like I'm even more excited for this movie than I was for Endgame or Infinity War.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
And like Endgame was the culmination of the MCU, but No Way Home is like the culmination of all of the Spider-Man movies. Like all of these movies are important to this movie.
Yeah.
So it's just insane. I think that this is probably going to be my favorite Spider-Man movie. So I'm putting this at the top of S tier.
At the top?
Yes.
You know, honestly, I hope to God it belongs there.
If this is not how I feel, then maybe I'll record a second segment where I rearrange this after I see the movie, obviously. But I feel like this is going to ring true. Yeah. It's kind of just how it is.
We're definitely going to have more Spider-Man content because, you know, Spider-Man, you know, No Way Home hasn't released yet. And there's probably going to be more shit to talk about even after the movie, to be honest with you. You know, what's been rumored is that there's a bunch of, you know, connections to other movies to come, pretty much. I mean, we still have Morbius coming soon as well.
Yeah, Morbius, Doctor Strange too.
Rumors of, like, freaking maybe more, like, Tobey Maguire content, or rumors more Andrew Garfield stuff.
Yeah, the multiverse is just beginning.
It's just starting, you know? We don't know what's going to go on.
Yeah. But we will have a podcast dedicated to No Way Home. Next week, we're going to be doing our Christmas episode. And then the week after, which should be, I think that's coming out on New Year's, I think. We'll be doing our No Way Home / New Year's podcast, I guess.
And hopefully you guys have seen the movie by then. If you haven't, do not watch that podcast, of course.
Obviously.
Watch the movie, then watch the podcast just to see what we have to say about it. And of course, you know, like I said, stay tuned for more content. If you like more Spider-Man, of course, subscribe to us, like this video.
I think we're definitely going to be doing more non-Spider-Man content. Like we've only done like 3 episodes of this podcast, and 2 of them have had. Well, this episode is entirely about Spider-Man, but episode 2 had an entire like 20 minutes about Spider-Man No Way Home and stuff. So we're gonna be making more.
It's the Spider-Man. You might as well, man. It's something.
Yeah, we have No Way Home coming out, so everyone's talking about Spider-Man right now. So now I want to do my my top 10. So it's basically going to be this tier list, I guess.
Okay.
So, you know, my number 10, Let There Be Carnage, worst movie. Amazing Spider-Man 1, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Venom. I feel like I might change it up a bit for my list here. Nah, I'll put Homecoming there. And then we got, yeah, Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 3. No, this is probably right. Never mind.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
literally
my like tend we basically did this tier list together, so we pretty much agree on this.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I thought that maybe I would have like some different
I'd probably be
run through, but
a little bit iffy putting I'm not too sure. It's hard to how to arrange pretty much, but if I were to say personally, I'd put the Amazing Spider-Man, the first one, the second one. But you know, screw it. I think that's fine as well.
yeah, that's fair.
I don't have that much like the Amazing Spider-Man's movies aren't like the best Spider-Man movies to me. So to me, like that arrangement doesn't really matter at the same time.
Yeah. I just think the Amazing Spider-Man 2, like the music's better. Like the Amazing Spider-Man 2, like the main theme of that movie is like the Spider-Man theme for me. Like I like Toby's theme and I like Tom's theme, but like that is, and it's only in that movie, but like that theme is like iconic. Like if I played that, like you would know that it's from Spider-Man somehow. Unless you've seen Amazing Spider-Man 2 like once, then you probably wouldn't recognize it, but
Somehow, some way.
yeah. And it has like great suit, great CGI, great action. It's just a lot of the story and character things that are a bit iffy.
Imagine we did a list where it's just all like the spider content, including like the fucking like TV shows and like the video games.
If we were including video games and TV shows and like cartoons or whatever in this, I feel like the PS4 Spider-Man game would probably be an S tier.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it might even be above everything else. Because that version of the character is great. Very well written, and
it is.
He could probably body all of these guys.
If it was a film, yeah. I would definitely say so.
I'm saying, like, if all four of those Spider-Men, like Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, and the PS4 Spider-Man, like, if they all got in a fight, like, the PS4 Spider-Man would body all of them.
Now, what would you say the Miles Morales story would be? I like the game pretty
Miles
much.
Morales game?
Yeah.
It's
I would say it would be like an A or a B.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to compare the video game stories with the movie stories because you're actually like, you are the character in the games.
Yeah, so you kind of relate to them at like pretty much everything.
Also, in the PS4 Spider-Man game, you can play as any of these Spider-Men, so you can just wear their costume.
Yeah, and there you go.
Yeah, you just play as them. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what I did when the first time I played Spider-Man.
I did. I'm pretty sure I played through the entire game with the Amazing suit, and I also did the Tom Holland suit, but I haven't done the Tobey Maguire one. But who the fuck cares? Playing the game.
Well, I think the first time I played through it, I used the Iron Spider from Infinity War. I used that the whole time because when the game first came out, the Tobey and Andrew suits weren't in the game. So
you know, the cool part about that game is that they're still updating the suits, so you can just fucking
they added the No Way Home suits, but I think they're only in the PS5 version, which kind of sucks. But you know, they gotta get you to buy the game on PS5, I guess.
Marco, I ain't want no PZ5.
Anyway, great list, great talk. I hope that No Way Home is really good. This fucking, Okay, this fucking page, this tier list page, just keeps scrolling down by itself, and it's pissing me off. I'm sure people who are watching the video have noticed already that it keeps doing that, and it's annoying. Sorry. I hope No Way Home is good. I'm pretty sure it's going to be good. I hope this tier list stays the same. I think it will stay the same. Yeah, the webcam.
The webcam.
Spider-Man tier list.
Spider-Man tier list. Go and goes.
Give us your tier lists in the not description. Holy shit. I don't know. What is YouTube? What are we doing? Podcast? What's that?
With great power comes great
shit. I'm just like completely flabbergasted right now. I don't know why.
Why?
I don't know.
You just fucking shot me. We just recreated the Uncle Ben.
My brain just fucking gave out. I just gave up.
All right, guys, go and ghost. Check our Instagram and our Twitter and our Spotify and our SoundCloud and our YouTube, of course.
Fucking page. I hate it.
Subscribe.
Spider-Man. No Way Home.
Spider-Man.
See you guys next week for our Christmas episode. I don't know exactly what we're doing yet, but it's going to be something Christmas related. Probably it might even be something very similar to what we're doing now. Maybe we'll do like a Christmas tier list or something. Christmas movie tier list. It'd be interesting.
Shout out to Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, shout out to Kurt Cobain.
Little P.
Leave your Spider-Man tier lists in the comments. I almost said description again.
Leave a like. Leave a like. Give a dislike.
Leave a like. Dislike. Fuck this video.
Dislikes are turned off, so just leave a dislike. Well.
Yeah, give us some podcast ideas. We can literally do anything on this podcast. It doesn't have to be limited to...
We can do anything. If you guys want us to go on chatterbait.com and doing our podcast there, we can literally do that. You know, not a bad idea.
We'll do a Chatterbait episode. But yeah, please give us suggestions for podcast topics or episodes. Leave your tier lists down below. Fucking love you.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. Make sure this video does well.
Spider-Man.
Or else we'll never make another one. This will be the last podcast if this video doesn't do well. Sorry, guys. We really need that ad revenue. All right. All right. Fucking see you guys.
Bye.
I'm on the web.